You read
Yeah.
my cards a few days
Yeah.
ago. So the death card comes up, and sometimes it could be a negative, like someone's passing away,
Mm,
or what, or the death of a job or whatever.
right.
And in my case, you flip the death card, but you felt a vibe that this was a good death. Like this is what's crazy is you said it's the death of something that needs to die. And you said you've already chosen to leave something in 2021 that will no longer follow you into 2022. And literally, like a day or two before the reading, I had made a conscious choice that that depression was not going to follow me into 2022. So I've,
Excellent.
about the last 3 years, I've been kind of struggling with depression. I had a best
Mhm.
friend that passed away in a car accident. I had a grandpa that died. Had a long-term relationship that ended. All three of those within a few months. And then I'm a social guy. I'm an extrovert. In the last 2 months, the world has had me locked in a room alone for 2 years. So that's been difficult with the mental health. So it's been a journey, but a couple of days ago, or right before New Year's, I decided, like, how long is this going to drag on for? Like, it's been 3 years.
Right.
That's such a long time. And I just consciously made a choice. I said, look, I've done enough work on myself with all the reading and the personal growth and talking to people. And I got a therapist, and I've been journaling and meditating, and I've done everything I can, knowing now that I have the tools to leave depression behind, but I have to make that choice. So I literally made that choice, and then right away you flip the death card and you go, no, wait, this is a good death. You've chosen to leave something behind in 2021, and that's literally what I did, like 48 hours before you drew that card. So it was
I'm
death of depression, death of ego, death of attachment, death of needing to control everything. Um, so I don't know if you want to elaborate on what you
I
felt when you.
I'm so I'm happy I validated that for you. And however you receive that validation, like the synchronicities show up in your life through people, through something you might hear on the radio, right? Or, on your social media, through another person. So I think I just came to validate that. So when I speak from my intuition, I kind of just feel, and that claircognizant comes in, ability where I just say what I think you need to hear. And that's why when I flip that card, I just allow myself in this flow space and I don't judge it. So I had to say that. So I'll say different things to different clients and they'll say, I needed to hear that. I'm like, okay, great. Like I'm just a vessel to get you the information you need, to go on your journey and be the best version of you. So I'm happy when I hear this, and it feels like I don't want to take credit for it because you did that. It's not me. I just validated it for you. You made that decision. You received from the universe the validation that, yeah, you're going to do this. You chose it. It's happening for you. Amazing. And you're getting the validation. So I don't, I don't see myself as I created that for you. You created it for you.
Mm.
So I just showed up at the right place, right time to tell you. It could have been somebody else, right? Like I don't give myself that much credit for what I do, other than I do get happy though, and joy when I see people understanding themselves and validating where they need to go to be the best version of themselves. So
So
thank you for yeah.
there were two more readings that were pretty
Mhm.
crazy. And before I get into those,
Yeah.
um, to me, what's astounding is, so how spot on you are with your readings, number one, is pretty crazy. But what makes it even crazier for me is we do it like over Zoom. It's not like you're in person, and I'm a poker player, so I can read people really well. The way
Right.
they move, their ticks, like, are they feeling confident or not confident? All of that allows me, regardless of what my cards are, I can tell what to do next based on people and their energies. But you're not in a room with me. You're like
Right.
ones and zeros in another city 5 hours away. So to me, it's not just the fact that your readings are amazing, which would be mind-blowing in person, but it's the fact that you're not even anywhere near the person, you're looking at them on screen. So can you talk about how that's even possible? Like, what are you actually getting from the other person when you're just on
Okay. So I feel like that's a good testament to distal healing, even distal, when you send energy out, you can send it to anyone across the world. And that's also a testament to the unified field theorem, like what Nassim Haramein is saying about, he is one of many. Again, we said that where you can direct energy anywhere and feel energy from anywhere around the world. So when I tap in to somebody in a reading, I guess my energy can go anywhere. I think it's limitless. So I think that's what's happening. Energy can even cross time and space. That's what it's doing. So really, I'm tapping into your energy field, and I'm and what I do is when I use the cards, I pick up energy, and I basically I use the cards a lot, right? And if I don't, and I'm not always spot on, and sometimes not feeling it, I can't tap in, and I really just rely on the cards. Like the cards are saying that, and I feel bad because sometimes maybe those clients will feel that, like, oh, she just read the cards. But a lot of the time, I do try to get into that space and that zone to tap into your energy, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just, the remote viewing or astral traveling people do with energy. I know Mind Valley does a lot of work on that, because I took a course actually on the Silva method, Ultra Mind. And basically you can put anyone in your mind's eye and give them healing, send them healing anywhere in the world. So really you're tapping in to energy. And again, and it speaks to the connection that we all have to get there. It's just the tools of how to get there. Everyone, you can read up on it or look it up on how to get in that space. A lot of my clients ask me, can you provide a meditation course? And I took an amazing meditation course with my mentor a long time ago, who now moved to BC, Belinda Pita. I remember that she was one of the first ones that kind of got me introduced me to meditation and the meditation world and the chakra world. I knew about chakras, but I wasn't that familiar with them. And anyways, so she got us into that space. And so you have to practice it. You have to really practice it. When they say you think of someone and they call you,
Yeah.
Like we're always tapping. You think of a song and it comes on the radio. I think you're always not consciously aware that you're tapping into energy fields, but you are.
I
think we're
had a
always doing it.
roommate. I had a
Yeah.
roommate once. I was in my room, and so I was in my room and I
Mm-hmm.
had a song stuck in my head. So it's like in my
Yeah.
head, I'm like humming this song. And then my roommate was in the shower. He gets out of the shower, he walks by, and he's humming the same song. And like I wasn't doing it out loud, and he was in the shower. And it's like
Yeah.
somehow we communicated that, and it was
It's true.
strange.
It's like I say, it's like a radio station and you tuned in. Like, that's sometimes what psychics say. They're like, I'm tuning into the radio station to hear this frequency. And they tune. So you tuned
Well,
into
everything
the
is
same.
energy, and energy is
Yes,
frequencies, right? So
exactly. Exactly. So I'm kind of, when I do a reading, I try to like dial into your frequency. That's what I'm kind of trying to do. I'm trying to listen and feel and hear and experience your frequency. So that's what I'm doing. And so I have to like just go in and dial into you and pretty much give you the messages that I'm receiving from your frequency and vibration, which is interesting because sometimes the frequency drops or goes higher or whatever. I can feel frequencies for different people. And I have to be mindful of clearing it also. Just be like, wait, that's not my energy. And I always ask myself, I check in, is this my energy or is this someone else's? Because, I have 2 daughters and they have their own frequency. And my husband has his own energy that he comes in with. So that I'm always trying to stay at the highest vibration I can for me, because I like operating in a high vibration.
So there's 2 more readings you did that were pretty crazy for me. So in this case, you would flip a card, which was like the main thing, and then you would flip 2 more that would have to do with the first card that was flipped. So you flip a card with a house, and then you flip a card with an animal, and then you flip a card that has to do with growth. And what's crazy is, so you flip a house, and for me it's that I had sold my house and I moved to a new place in a new city, so I'm in Ottawa. So I got a new place. Then the second one was an animal, and 2 months ago I got this rescue rabbit, Violet. And the third one was growth, and it's the new place plus this other entity that needs me to survive. And it's not just about me and my suffering. It's there's other people and other things out there that need my help. So it was the house and the animal that were a huge area of growth for me. And I would arguably say the last 2 months that I've had her have been the best 2 months I've had in 3 years. And in the last 2 years during the lockdown, there's been a lot of loneliness because you're just alone. I mean, you might have some loneliness, but you're there with your husband and your kids. Like, most people are quarantined with other people, and then there are some of us that are literally just alone. So yeah, in the last 2 months since I got Violet, there hasn't been one day where I felt any loneliness, because I'm not alone. I have this fuzzy creature that just loves me and wants to snuggle all the time and appreciates me. So those three cards, and together, meaning like one story, were pretty crazy. What are your thoughts on those three cards coming out?
Right. And I always say, like, it's the power of like the cards that, like, sometimes they surprise me too. I'm like, wow, it's great. Like, this came out. So I am just as equally surprised when it comes out. Sometimes, like, I stay in that mode of just staying again in that meditative mode. So, but usually after a reading too, I'll reflect. I'm like, that's interesting. Like, wow, those cards came out. I thought the same thing. Every reading sometimes surprises me after. I'm like, I'll tell my husband, I'm like, surprised the accuracy of these cards. Me, I am like so surprised. But I think, again, it's giving you what you need. Animals, I'd love to speak on that a bit. I love animals too, always have. And I'm starting to appreciate plants more and how they communicate and what energy they bring. And for animals and children, when you're in the vibration of taking care of others, like, it takes you out of your mind, really. And if you're of your potential depression or loneliness, like, they're the best company, I think, animals, because they say they have a higher vibration, right? I don't know, when I tap into them, they also, I feel, are empaths, in the sense that they can pick up vibrations from us, as we all do. We're all interconnected. So I think lifting each other up in this, like, loneliness and having company is beautiful, and being there. And I know when your pet yesterday was feeling sick, did you not receive all this, like, energy of healing and love and the feeling of
Well,
love?
I got sick when she got sick. So yesterday she
Yeah.
wasn't feeling well. And then, it's
Yeah.
that I was up in the middle of the night and I didn't sleep, and all, so like that causes sickness as well. But she got sick and then I got sick. Like, I got the
Yeah.
sickness vibrations and energy.
Yeah. You got and now you're both healing. Like,
Well, now
sickness.
she's feeling better. She better send that back over here.
She'll send it back. Well, I'll send that to you. It's nice to receive that. I know you put it out for you, and a lot of people are hesitant to ask for healing for themselves, but for others, they'll say, please send healing for my friend, for my animal. And it's like, when we need it, we don't ask for it, but you can even ask. Just, I'll send healing as well to you. But I think it's true. You tap into the energy and then you'll feel it. I think maybe you take it on. I do that too as an empath. I'll take on the pain of somebody else or their sickness. So I think you did that. You transferred it to you, and now you'll heal.
I extracted
And
like the snake
yeah,
bite, the venom out of
yeah,
the
out of
victim,
me.
and I
And
took
know
it.
that, yeah. And don't say, like, and words are so important in how you say, you've read the Four Agreements, and I've read this a lot. I think Wayne Dyer would say it a lot. Like, don't say I'm sick and I'm going to be sick for like 14, whenever I get sick for 12 days. Like, I'm healing. Like, words have energy, and they manifest. So say, I'm healing. I took the energy and now I'm healing. And it's just symptoms of your healing, really, sickness. So yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, with the cards, yeah, I'm surprised too. I'm not gonna lie. So when I just go with the flow, so I'll get cards and I'll say them, and I'm and when I'm tapping in, I'll just read them, and I'll tap into the energy. So if I see that card, which I picked up from you, and this is like one of my first decks I received. So it's not like a traditional deck. It's its own little deck. Anyways, it's an animal card. Sometimes that means old friend. I interpret it, but when I tap in, I'm like, no, this is an animal. And then the house. So really, I just sometimes read it to you, and then sometimes when I'm not sure and I'm not able to tap in, I'll read the cards and tell you the different meanings that come from it. So house could be a new house, changing of a house, energy in the house, and then I have to read the other cards as a story to it, or like information. So I take the information and I say it could mean this and that. How do you interpret it for you, right? And where, so the house, an animal. So I really interpreted like house as it's a new house, moving the house, a new house, and an animal coming in. It could be an old friend, but for you, it felt like animal, and then you validated that for you. And then we, in the reading, everybody wants to know where they're going, right? Like that's the whole point. Most people call me for that, especially in the new year. Where am I going? Is this going to happen for me? I really want this. And is it going to happen for me? Again, I talked to them about, manifesting. I'll direct them to Neville Goddard's work or anything that works for them, and just the belief that it's going to happen. Anything that's going to help them know what they want to manifest, they can. And then we'll look at the cards together, and I'll say this, and this. I'll read it with the information and and that's where we go from there. So if it works out, if it's like I'll get the card for a new job, and it'll look like a new job. And I have clients that will be like, can you just pull one card for me? Like they'll text me, like, I need to see one card pulled. And one of them was like, someone just told me about that. And I'll pull it for them, but I'll be like, how do you feel? Like, do you want, like, is this bringing you joy? Do you want to do this? I'll be, the cards look positive, or I don't want them to be thwarted if the cards look negative. I'll be like, okay, they look negative, but what is it that you're bringing to it? What's the energy of that you don't want to follow this path? So, yeah, I don't like, it's funny that I read the cards, but I tell people not to put so much stock into the cards. Yeah. Like I want them to put stock into their belief system. But again, it's a great way to communicate what's going on, right, in your life. So yeah, this was validation for you. Like this was going on. This was validation for you that you made this decision to leave that all in 2021, your past, and it came up. And if you didn't come to me, you probably would have got that validation from the universe. And I believe that. I really believe there's synchronicities. And signs in the universe is showing you're on the right path. And I ask for it all the time. Like Paul Levy, who's written this book, The Quantum Revelation, he talks about like you are in a dreamlike state and you put clues in your dream to guide you to the right path. So I just showed up in your dream. Really, you dreamed me up, and I came to validate your creation in your dream. Like, yeah, you're on the right path. Like you're creating the dream.
There you go. So the final two. So you did more cards than this, but like we won't get into the relationship stuff and love and all that. My listeners don't want to hear that. But the one we'll talk about is you flipped a card and it was a boat, and the card came upside down. So it was an upside down boat, which doesn't float so well. And then the next card was a little mouse, and it's known as the robber mouse. So the mouse comes and it robs whatever the card before it is. So it's essentially, it meant the thwarting of plans to travel. And what's crazy is I'm in Canada. It gets cold. Yeah, it gets cold. Oh, sorry. So you talk and then it'll bring.
No, go ahead.
No. And then it'll show your card. So right now they're looking at me on screen. I'll change.
Sorry. Yes. These were
okay, there we go. Now you're on screen. So there's my boat that's upside down, and then there's a little mouse that's coming to take away my transportation. Right. Cool. So, I'm here in Canada. It gets freezing in the winters. I don't do well with cold. So every winter I go to Mexico for 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever. I didn't go last year because of the pandemic and the uncertainty. And then I was considering going this year. And then suddenly, 3 days ago, everything gets worse. Like the numbers are worse than they've ever been. Here in Ontario, we're in lockdown for 3 weeks. You can't even eat in a restaurant. Gyms are closed. Concerts are shut down. And it's just not a good time to travel. So I had just kind of decided like, okay, we're going to wait this out again another year. And then a card comes being like, yeah, no, traveling's not happening anytime soon for you. So that was kind of crazy as well. My
Yeah,
poor
I
boat got flipped upside
I
down.
flip upside down. And you know, sometimes when I get cards like this, even for people, I'm like, try to create enough, make it happen. I'm like, so what? You got these cards. I'm like, how about we try for this energy to go away? So I'll be like, let's try using your manifestation skills and your imagination and the belief that you are going to travel. Because, you know, yes, sometimes this will confirm or affirm what's happening this year again, but I still believe in the power of belief and change, right? Like, I'm like, no. So something like this for me would bother me because I love travel. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Like if I went to and I got these cards for myself, I'm like, I'm going to make myself travel. And it might not be as grandiose as the travel plans I had. It could be like, okay, well, you're going to a cottage. Like, but I still create a travel plan in myself if I didn't like the reading, which I would tell my clients, if you didn't like the reading, create what you want. So that's why I'm like, sometimes you can't just be like, well, there's my travel plans. It might not be exactly what you wanted,
Hmm.
but still, if that is important to you to do for your own sanity, like a lot of people need to get away from the energy of work, of all this. And I had a friend whose travel plans got thwarted with this. She couldn't go to Cuba, and she went to a nice, beautiful cottage, and the energy was still there of travel, right? So
Hmm.
it may be saying no, what you planned won't look exactly how you wanted, but the energy of what you want and need it can still come.